Good evening, everyone that might be watching this tonight. Welcome to our Land Down Under Hangout. This month's book was my pick, which was Caraval. I picked this book because I picked it up like 4 or 5 times when I saw it in the book section at Target.
She judged the book by its cover. It's pretty.
I did judge the book by its cover. It was very pretty, and I'm very sorry. I'm very, very sorry.
As if we haven't all done that at some point.
Yeah. That's what else are you going to go on, really?
From the little synopsis on the back, it didn't seem like it was going to, it seemed like it might be a fairly interesting read. It wasn't, this little sort of story on the back made it seem like it wasn't going to be the greatest book ever, but it wasn't also going to be as, not great as it was. I'm not saying it was bad, it just wasn't great.
Yep.
Anyway.
Agreed.
That's my little entrance to tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone want to start us off?
About what we're drinking?
Yeah, what are we all drinking to get through this book?
Yeah. Well, I just had we were discussing this in our chat, but I just had a gin and tonic with the Mediterranean Fever Tree tonic, which is very nice. I can very much recommend that tonic. And I threw in some frozen berries and a bit of black pepper. It was a nice. It's hit me, obviously. And now I am having an old-fashioned, but kind of / old-fashioned mint julep, because I do enjoy a bit of mint in my bourbon. So that's what I am having now.
You always have the fanciest drinks, Sarah.
I know.
You know why? Because I went off wine in a really big way post-pregnancy. That's why. I really don't. I can't stomach wine in the same way I used to. So, yeah, I got into the old spirits.
Fair enough.
I'm into the wine. I got a Pinot. It's either a Pinot Gris or a Pinot Grigio, and I'm not sure how to tell the difference. But yeah, I mean, besides actually reading the bottle, but it's nice.
Is it from Italy or is it from France?
See, the thing was, I bought a case that was half Pinot Gris and half Pinot Grigio.
Oh yeah.
And so when I pull them out of the wine fridge now, it's like I have no idea which one this is.
Are they all kind of clean skin style?
That label and that I don't read them when I get them out of the fridge. I'm like, I need wine. Here's my wine, and I'm going to drink it. And it doesn't occur to me to read what it is because I know it'll be something I like because it's out of my fridge.
That might be something we want to mute. Since all of us are going to be getting all those messages.
Oh, sorry.
I think my phone doing that.
It's been talking to your husband. Sorry.
It's not making a noise through my computer. It's making a noise through my phone.
Yeah, just phones.
Yeah, I just turned it on silent.
I'm very sorry. I just got lemon squash. No booze.
Oh, I love a good lemon squash. Yum.
This is the SodaStream lemon squash syrup.
What's it like?
Really nice. I have SodaStream Fake Coke.
Oh, cool. Because I've been looking for a good lemon squash. So that's the SodaStream brand one, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to pick that up.
Like lemon water or whatever it's called.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
really nice.
It's really nice. It tastes like good quality Solo.
I love it. Yeah, which is what I love. I love Solo. So, yeah, I'm going to check it out. Thanks, ladies.
Mel, what are you drinking this evening?
Dual white Frontenac from the Adelaide Hills. Oh, no, wasn't it? What was the area where the Rockford was? I don't remember. Anyway,
yeah, that
it's a Rockford wine.
That was Adelaide Hills, I think. And then that was the first day, wasn't it?
Yeah, and we did the Barossa the second day. That's correct. Yes, so that was right. So, yeah, but it says Barossa Valley on the label. There you go. Who knew?
Oh, there you go. Maybe we were just drunk and we didn't remember.
I was driving. I should have had a better idea. But anyway, I'm drinking my lovely white Frontenac. I'm having so much of it tonight that I have the rest of the bottle here with me already.
Nice. Did you spittoon on your trip, Mel, when you were driving? Did you try and then?
I basically went based on everybody's suggestions. If they said it was worth my trying, then I gave it a go, which is how I got this one, and was like, oh my God. And I now have, you can see sitting behind me, the white box. That's my birthday present, which is a pack of 12.
Oh, fabulous.
Nice. Damn.
Love it.
I'm sorry, do you want back in the bag?
He just jumped up on the chair and like was peering into the bag, but I put the bag on the floor for him now. And it's not for you.
Cool.
So yeah, shall we
Lead us, oh leader.
shall we start with a general overview of what we all thought of the book?
We shall.
That words. I haven't drunk anything today. I don't know what's wrong with my words.
Can I go first because I didn't finish it?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I didn't finish it. I got about 80 pages in, and I was. It took me weeks to just do that much, and I really wasn't feeling it. So yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit of a struggle straight for me as well, and it was my pick. That was the only reason it got finished. I'm like, must read it.
I find it funny that you guys say that, because the only reason I was able to finish this as quickly as I did was because it was such an easy read.
I didn't find it a difficult read. I just didn't find it was a read that I wanted to pick up.
Yeah,
I didn't pick it up. I sat down with it twice and I finished it.
Well, I did that today. I finished the whole day. This one wasn't the one.
Did Mel just lag out for everyone or just me?
No,
I did. I'm back.
Okay. Oh no, she's lagged. Completely lagged out. Sorry, Mel.
Oh, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, there we are. You just your description completely lagged out. I'm like, oh, I've got nothing. Great.
Yeah, no, I was back for a bit and I could hear you guys for a little bit, but yeah. Anyway, good that it's fixed itself.
Okay.
Sarah, would you like to go next?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, okay. So I listened to this as an audiobook. Thank you, Mel.
You're welcome.
And honestly, I think it's probably one, and I was on holiday as well, so it's probably one of the reasons I did like make an effort when I was like, freaking spend a whole credit on this book and I'm gonna get through it kind of thing. And I ran it at 25% faster than normal because it was like, you know, and also because I was in the car and my mother-in-law was driving. This was the day that I did my ankle in, if anyone follows my Instagram stories. So I wasn't driving, which meant that my mother-in-law was so nervous. I'm like, I have to listen to something. I can't sit for the 4 hours we're driving up to the Gold Coast and not like do anything. So I started this book. It started okay. It was more promising when we like left that frickin' island. There's a couple of reviews on Goodreads, which I basically go, they said everything that I felt. And I'm looking forward in the rest of this review to share that. But I think my biggest problem with this is I felt I was, and I'm quoting somebody else here and I'll find it. I felt like I was stuck. I was stuck in the head of the most boring, annoying character. Like she completely overthought everything and there was too much thinking and not enough doing. And it just frustrated me. The other thing was I was kind of excited about this because there had been this whole comparison to the Night Circus and like even like the cover art very reminiscent of it.
Yeah, we're clearly trying to link into it.
Yeah, it's just not of the same caliber.
No, it's really not.
It really wasn't.
That was part of the reason I did end up picking it up.
Yeah,
like,
and
I was like,
not, and
it does seem like it's that sort of same like carnival-y sort of. You know,
absolutely, and the premise is really exciting. Like I was really excited by it, but it took us forever to freaking get there. And then when we were there, she seemed so scared to enjoy herself. And then there was the whole outcome, which I have issues with. So I gave this 2 stars because I did get through it. I kind of wanted to know what happened. But at the end, I was actually really angry with the whole world that had been built. And I'm like, I don't want to get back into this world. I actually despise pretty much everybody in it. So that's my take. Who's next?
Kirsten. I just kind of felt a bit meh about this book. And don't feel bad about picking it because I have had it on my to-read list forever. Well, not forever, but, you know, so quite a while. I had it even on my wish list for Secret Santa because I'd seen the cover and thought it was so beautiful. And I thought, again, like you guys said, I thought it looked kind of like the Night Circus. I thought it might be similar kind of book, and maybe that's part of the reason why I was disappointed, was because my expectations were too high.
Yeah,
but I
like
didn't hate it. Like, I ended up giving it 3 stars because I did find it quite an easy read. Like, it didn't take me that long to get through it. But yeah, I just was, and yeah, the ending I was not impressed with, but we can get to that later.
Yeah.
what is happening? Trixie has decided that she wants in the bag, but Bam is like, no, this is my bag.
I found it.
So now they're going to fight over it.
So if you hear cat fights, it's over a paper bag.
Yeah, you know what my 2 children were fighting about the other day? It was the insert from inside a shoe. You know how there's like the sole part from the inside of the shoe, and it had fallen out because of the crappy Kmart shoe. They had a screaming, like, Claire trying to bite Xander pushing his head, like headbutting her, like full-on fight.
It's not
Because
funny,
they both
but
wanted
it is
this
funny.
bit from this shoe. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? It's insane. It's
See,
just
this
because
is what happens when
you
you
have something,
they
it must be good, I want it.
Yeah, wait till they're older. And then it'll be over other things.
Mm-hmm.
I had a younger brother, and he would nick food off my plate when I wasn't looking.
We used to do that. We lived across the road from a river, and our favorite game was, oh, look, there's dolphins. Steal food.
Yeah. He just, to be fair to Leo, he just needed more food than I did because, you know, he was just growing at the rate of knots at the time. Who's next?
Me.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm pretty much with Kirsten. I was just generally underwhelmed with all of it.
Mm.
And I only read like every 4th or 5th line and still feel like I got the gist.
Yeah,
If
that
wasn't
wouldn't be
saying
hard.
enough. Like it was fine. But yeah, there are issues, and it was just, there was nothing about it that was particularly thrilling, and I wanted more. Sorry, expected more, not wanted more.
Yeah.
I think what everyone said was part of the problem. That, like, I looked at it and thought, ooh, this seems very much like the Night Circus.
I haven't read the Night Circus though. Don't shoot me. I still haven't read the Night Circus.
What?
So I don't have that expectation.
Well-
I just haven't read. I don't have time. I don't have time to read Blood Pics and my own books.
Okay, Karina, I understand, but just understand that it is a basic line for us all.
It's a really good, and it's really good. You'd enjoy it.
Naomi's here whispering to me that she hasn't read Kushal Start. I haven't read that either.
Well, I wasn't a huge fan of that one, so I'm good.
Oh, it's interesting. I thought that would be totally up your alley.
I jumped into VF after they'd read it.
I was in VF. I think I was working nights that week, and I tried reading it and just couldn't, because I was
couldn't get
working
into
nights.
We read it.
I actually did what I call a skim read. I didn't actually read it word for word. I just read enough to get the gist of pretty much the whole story and was like,
Yeah,
I could take it or leave it.
I really liked it. I think, honestly, Karina, because of your love of fantasy, I think you'd enjoy it because I think the world building in it is yeah. But I know why it's not everybody's cup of tea for various reasons.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it enough to immediately go and read all the others.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I kind of felt it
I
left.
don't think I'll ever get through the others.
Yeah, and it left it in a really good place. I actually was like, no, I like where it's left this. So
Yeah.
It's probably really good that G's not here because she'd be like looking murder eyes at all of us.
Yeah.
She's too busy watching sports ball, so it's all good.
Yeah, it's okay. What's this sports thing? What is this?
I know. Kirsten liked my joke.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we want to talk about? Can I talk about the 2 reviews and Goodreads and the bits of it that I just think are about describing?
Sure.
Yes, okay.
Great.
Excellent, because I think it gives us some place to talk. So there's the first review, which has had so many votes up. It's the one at the top because it features GIFs or GIFs, depending on your flavor. She rated it 1 star, and it was from a woman, Emma, on the 4th of March last year. I had to figure out what year it was, and she It's just brilliant. There was a couple of lines, and in fact, I think she said, here we are. She says, first, Scarlett, cannot believe we were trapped inside the head of the most boring character of all time throughout what is supposed to be a suspenseful, thrilling ride, but obviously was not. She's easily embarrassed, obsessed with propriety, falls pretty much insta-love with Julian because he's hot, lies all the time because poor widow girl is embarrassed of something or other about herself. She's super weak, constantly questioning her own reasoning and letting others make decisions for her, tries to act like she's a protective older sister, but speaking as a protective older sister, she doesn't give much of a shit about the family she's staring into Julian's eyes or literally sucking his fingers. I love that. Let's talk about Scarlett.
Wait, which one was Julian? Was he the guy from the boat? Like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Julian is the pirate, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree about that. And I was like, okay, I don't understand why this girl has been obsessed with this place for her whole life.
Yeah.
And when she gets there, she's like, I don't really want to do any of the things. But yeah, she was a bit annoying.
We've been talking a bit lately about the girl who can do everything in fantasy books.
Yeah.
Because we've been reading Sarah J. Maas books. And Scarlett is the opposite of all of those characters, and it's not the solution.
Yeah, she is the character that can do nothing.
You need enough flaws, but you need someone who's proactive. I mean, I think a good example of that is actually Everdeen. What's her name? Katniss Everdeen.
Katniss,
Yeah. I think she's a good example of someone who's proactive, but she has flaws, and they do, that she has foibles. But this was just, and I know what you mean about the character who can do everything. What was the name of the wind? Patrick Rothfuss.
Yes.
Like I think G found this amazing quote from somebody who is like, who said, and I'm not going to mispronounce the character's name. Is it? I can't even remember. Thank you, Koth is so amazing and good at writing and good at magic and good at sex and it's like and good at fighting, and it's like because I actually kind of felt that way by the end of it. I'm like, is he just talking himself up the whole time?
I was just going to say that's the thing you got to remember with that book. He is telling this story, so he is putting a spin on it.
Yeah. So
yeah, but even
he's working his brand.
The thing is, though, when you've got a character that is good at everything, if they're not good, actually legit good at everything, you often get points where they won't do something or they fail at something and they hide it, even though they say they're really good at the thing.
Yeah.
Whereas the problem with the trope of girl that is good at everything, except she's clumsy. That's the thing. She's great at everything except she trips over her own feet, and isn't it like such a cute little flaw? She's like clumsy and she drops things,
especially when there's boys around.
Yeah, but she's an excellent hunter and she can.
Twilight.
Except she wasn't good at anything.
Nice
She's more like this one. In fact, she kind of reminded me of her a little bit.
Yeah, she does a bit, but this character will be like an excellent huntress and can stalk through a forest and shoot a deer from 100 miles away.
Right.
But then, trips over her own feet and
Sarah J. Maas one, the Thorn and Roses. Isn't she pretty much like that?
Yes.
No, the other ones.
The Court of Mist and Fury.
No, that's the same
Throne
series.
of Glass.
Throne of Glass. The girl from Throne of Glass. She's like that.
I knew it was one of them that I was thinking of.
Yeah, Throne of Glass. She's good at everything except she's clumsy.
Yeah.
I just wish everybody would stop with the clumsiness thing. It's not a very good identifying feature. Most of us are not that freaking clumsy.
I am.
Of all the things that make you your flaw, clumsiness should not be your flaw.
I just feel like, it's not flaw, but I just feel like it's I'm going to identify with this person because they're almost inevitably made ridiculously clumsy. It's not like, I just made a little mistake. It's a personality trait, and it's like, clumsy doesn't really work that way, I don't think.
Yeah. And quite often too, they're clumsy, but then they're good at fighting and stuff. And it's like, yeah, I'm clumsy because I'm shit at everything like that. I have no spatial awareness or Like, you know, and you don't become a good fighter when you have no spatial awareness. So
Yeah, and how can you be a good shooter if you're clumsy?
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, these girls will be really good hunters and fighters, but the minute they're not hunting or fighting, they're dropping shit and falling over their own feet.
Which I'm going to say is, I'm going to call bullshit.
Yeah.
But sorry, getting back to Caraval and
Yes,
multitude
sorry.
of problems. Sorry.
No. I love hangouts that we hate. We don't like the book. They're the best. I agree, Sarah.
Like, the thing that really drew me into picking this book, which is one of the main lines on the back, Caraval is magic, mystery, adventure. It was none of those things. It was not magic. It was not mystery. It was definitely not adventure.
Yeah.
There is some magic, but it's not like magic.
It wasn't like, definitely wasn't Night Circus kind of. I was kind of expecting some really cool things to happen.
Like, it wasn't even like Harry Potter level of magic.
No.
Like there was magic there, but she didn't like use it in a way that's like interesting. It was just there.
The only interesting magic was about the dress that changed by the situation, which I kind of liked, but she whinged about it the entire time. But
was that the dress she put in the clock shop?
Yeah, and then it's like, I'm out, and suddenly changed into lingerie in the wrong moment, and
talk about.
But I did think it was an interesting concept, and I liked the idea of a dress that could read your moods and change depending on what you were doing. Although I would have liked to see it be more like, you're running away now, so I'm going to change into like a activewear type thing, and you're in a ballroom, so I'm going to instead of being like, you're standing in front of a strange man, and I'm changed into lingerie.
I'm going to present what society thinks you should be. Like, it was like, and actually on the whole dress thing, the amount of description that was about the goddamn dresses, I just was
going done with it.
I mean,
I was like, if talks about another bloody dress, I'm going to smother her with all of the dresses she's talked about.
You know, the thing is that like the Night Circus was like that. It did do a lot of those sort of descriptive things about things like dresses and outfits and what was going on and things, but she did it well.
That's right. I just felt like I was reading Vogue's fashion of like it's June, bows are in. We're also going to look at ruche sleeves and hemlines are coming up. That's what it felt like.
Oh God.
But I think the thing is, like, especially with the lingerie stuff, it's not lingerie. It's like a nightdress. It's not like it was putting her in a tiny.
But to delicate Scarlet, being seen in her nightwear would be just the most tragic. She can never be seen in public again.
I've got to say, a dress that I have no control over doesn't sound appealing.
No,
but then she gave up 2 days of her life to get 2 dresses, and then Julian gave her a day, so they only lost a day. So she only needed 1 dress, and I'm like, and then she didn't even get both dresses in the end. I was really confused.
understand the point of that bit either. Like,
Well, wasn't the point of it for her to look in Aiko's book, and then we never saw Aiko's book again anyway?
She read the book in a dream.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, her dream was Aiko's book.
But even that wasn't true because it gave a different impression of who was at the funeral.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
stupid anyway. It was all a game, and it was like, you said that on the cover, so you basically tried to make it an interesting twist. And I'm jumping to the ending, but really, they tried to make it this interesting mystery and twist, and then they have right at the beginning of the book, it's all a game, and then you get to the end, and it's like, it's all a game. Okay, that was an exciting, unexpected twist.
And that's about the only bit I liked was the bit where she was coming into the party at the end and she's like, I'm about to meet Julian, but I don't actually know if I know this person. That was the only bit that felt like, oh, wow, you're actually being – sorry, what was that, Naomi?
Like a real human, like
having real feelings. Because that's exactly when you go, have I just experienced this or haven't I? Like, is this real or is this not? And it kind of, I guess it's a little bit like there was a really good episode of The Family Guy, I think it was. Brian, the dog, had been on a reality show, and I think it was Brian. Maybe I'm getting my shows mixed up. But he had met, the love of his life and everything. At the end of it, she's like, cool, thank you for that. And like because it was for the show, it wasn't real, you know, like it wasn't going to be, you know, passing on. And I kind of did feel a little bit like that.
But also they've known each other for all of 5 days.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
And the entire
Caraval
time
went for 7 days, and she knew him the day before Caraval.
No, Caraval went for 5 days.
So she knew him for 6 days.
Barely.
How dare you? Well,
Yeah.
actually, they were,
Because they were dead for a day.
they were also on that boat for 2 days because it's a
She was
2-day.
unconscious.
She like bemoaned the fact that it's a 2-day boat trip. I'm not going to get back to the love of my life. He's so lovely, you know, if he said it.
Yeah. It's just frustrating, right? You're like, what does time matter now? Like, stop talking about how many fucking days you've got left. I don't care. Can you actually go and do something, please? Yeah.
Well, it's like her whole like
Colour thing?
the colour thing.
Colour thing.
The
What
colour
was with
thing.
the colour thing? Like,
Okay.
I thought this was going to come out and have, like, some great big purpose.
Yeah,
No.
it didn't
And it's
have
not.
nothing.
It's just she's obsessed with colour.
Yeah. This book, so this is from Emma again. This book is written ... weirdly. For one thing, Scarlett, in order to remind us of her special snowflake status, sees emotion and colour. It is straight up so annoying. Here are a handful of my least favourite instances for your reading horror strike enjoyment. She could see the sting of her rejection in shades of stormy blue, ghosting over his heart like a sad morning mist. Periwinkle curiosity. I don't know why I hate that one so much. I just really do. It would have been a mistake to kiss him, yet she felt disappointed. It came in cool shades of forget-me-not blue, which wrapped around her like an evening fog, making her feel hidden enough to acknowledge that she wanted to experience more of Caraval's pleasures than she would have admitted out loud. Did you ever notice anything beside how irritating that quirk is? Numbers 1 and 3 are pretty much the damn same. I mean, what the hell? It just went nowhere. What is her point of being able to see in colours? It gave her, I mean, the only thing she was able to do was, didn't she follow the fake, like follow the guy? Because she
No,
saw
that
he
was
had
after she had the
She just
had
had
like
potion.
drugs.
So it has for
black and white, and then that guy had like a spot of red on him, so she knew he was important.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it just, and also if you read that, all the different descriptions of the color, it's like a freaking Vogue thing again. Like, you know, like how many shades of blue and where.
Panto colour of the year.
Yeah. Like
is
I
red?
work in paint. I work for Dulux. Let me explain the difference between Forget Me Not and Periwinkle.
Or she just typed the word blue into Google and then hit thesaurus and just saw how many.
I think, you know what?
Synonyms,
I think
please.
she hung out at Bunnings and just looked at all the different shades and just grabbed all the colors and put them back.
Just went, I think it's all of these. All of them.
I have a
Such
really
great
big
names.
house to paint.
Sorry?
I have a really big house to paint.
Every wall is going to be a different shade of blue.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But not purple, because I don't like purple.
Oh yeah.
And her thing with like her dad's perfume, aftershave, fucking
Yeah.
stench, whatever it is that it is.
Stench of plums. The stench of plums.
It's the stench of rotting plums. I swear to God, if I heard her say that one more time, I'd fucking punch her in her fucking mouth.
How did we all feel about the abuse?
Oh God, that was one of the reasons I was not enjoying the beginning.
It was abusive, and then when he showed up with her fiance, so that didn't ring true either. It's just like he said, oh, the reason, you know, because like Julian was going, the reason he's not giving you the letters and hiding them, but then we never found out what was fucking hidden in the like why.
Yeah.
Well, I think he was only hiding a name, wasn't he? Like he was just tearing off the name.
Apparently he was editing it or something like that before he gave her the letters. Before her father gave her the letters from her fiance, he would edit them and take things out.
Yeah,
But we never really found out. Sorry, yeah, but we never really found out why.
I obviously skimmed read that because I knew
I
that
thought he was just removing identifying features.
I knew he was like removing.
But then he
identifying
knew
features.
that he wasn't supposed to provide identifying features because he knew that it was all supposed
This
that
is
they were
what I mean.
supposed to
It was just badly thought out. I think it was to create mystery, but then she never resolved it.
Yeah,
And then when
like,
we
plot hole.
like
yeah,
she
it was a
just
real
made the Lord, whatever his face was, appear, and then it was like that plot hole never existed. It was like,
Yeah,
oh, no,
and
we're never gonna
what
talk
would
about
have
those
been a better
brothers.
twist is like when he showed up with her. Like I didn't quite understand why they were so gun ho on it, because the guy, the fiance, he was taken aback by the Lord's behavior.
Being all
towards
like
his daughter.
abusive and stuff.
He's
Yeah.
very abusive. He struck her in the stomach, and I was just kind of like, you know. And then he was like, you know, like it was, oh, we're going to get it on, and it's just kind of. And then he was like, I don't know, it just none of that. Like the whole rape scene rang really badly. Like
Yeah,
didn't
like,
ring at all.
Like he seemed like a decent human being
Yeah.
up until like he's not the greatest human being. He didn't seem slimy until the bedroom scene, and then suddenly he's like Slimes McGee, who's trying to rape his fiance.
I get
And then
the
he's like,
feeling
won't
she
let it
was.
go.
I get the feeling she was trying to have that sort of counterbalance between Julian and Darcy, whatever his name is, I can't
Oh
remember.
yeah.
And you know, you have Julian who, when he sees her being abused, is like, no, you don't get to do that, and you know, tries to step in and everything. And when he's alone in the bedroom with her, he's like, no, I'll be a perfect gentleman. And then you have the Lord she's supposed to marry, who's like, oh, this abuse is happening. I'm just gonna stand here quietly.
Yeah, because I
and when
never
I'm alone with
understood
you, I'm
what
gonna
was
try
in
and
it for
rape.
him. Like did that get explained? Because I don't remember what was in it for Darcy.
All I can think of is that he gets a
Oh,
wife.
what?
Like,
Yeah.
So I was like, why? Because I thought he actually held more
A
cards.
wife from
He
a
could
reasonable
say,
name.
I'm not up for this, dude. I'm walking away. Like,
I mean,
or
like, what's so special about her? Like,
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
her tits made of cotton candy or something, dude? Like, what have you been told about this woman?
yeah,
I assume
I
they're
was
from a
very
reasonably
confused.
affluent family.
Yeah, but like affluent family from the islands, like surely he could find a fairly affluent family
Yeah.
from the mainland that would give him a daughter.
It just that whole bit rang very bad.
Yeah, it was very strange.
It didn't, like, from what had been created to the person we met when the father showed up. The father wasn't badly developed, to be fair, but then the fiance, I don't know whether it was again to have mystery and to have a again, it felt a bit like the color thing, where the color was to create mystery. The fiance felt like to create a, I don't know what you'd call it, but like an anchor about why she wanted to get back to her life, and why, like, it was to create an anchor.
Yeah.
Yeah, to go
but
back.
then it just didn't spell it out.
It kind of just dissipated away. Like,
Yeah,
it was like, oh, here he is. Oh, look, he's a jerk, and he's gone now.
yeah, yeah. No.
And for all her harping on about how much she was distraught about her sister being missing, and you know, like we did not do a lot of searching for her sister.
No. And she never reflected. This is my other annoyance. You know how she was in that? Was it a hat shop, clock shop? I don't remember what it was. Clock shop. Yeah. And she was showing how she. What was that?
She was in a hat shop too.
Oh, which
Later on.
part do you mean?
Right at the beginning.
Right at the beginning, before she even went through the gates. I think it was a clock shop. I don't remember, with watches.
Yeah, and they said, "Oh, you can get a shortcut or whatever."
Shortcut, and she looked through, and there was her sister. She never reflected on that after. I'm going, well, that was clearly not right. I mean, you know, like, that's not. They were showing her enjoying, like, her sister enjoying herself, and her sister had said clearly that if she was, like, she was in secret the whole time, so she couldn't be seen. So I was like, and she never reflected on that. She never looked at that and went, you know, whereas I was thinking about that whole time going, what can you trust? What can you do? Like, whenever you're interacting with anybody in this game, what are we looking at here? So I just found it very strange.
Like the girl that, like, the screams that she heard while she was in the, like, tunnels, and then the girl that was made of stone, and it's like, it's never really explained what happens during the day. It's like this big thing about no one can be out during the day.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, what happens in the day? And, like, Julian shows up and he looks very disturbed by his experience. You're like, well, what exactly? Because he was working there.
Yeah.
Like, exactly how disturbed can you be when you know all the Disneyland characters? You know, like.
Obviously, he's just a good actor. Acting.
It's just I think, you know, that's what it is. The plot holes in this are so deep and cavernous. It's just.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So she's writing all these letters. She wants to go. It doesn't sound to me like it's a good time though. So why does everybody like this thing?
Oh, so she didn't go because she wanted to go. Her sister kidnapped her with
I knew
Julian,
that much.
the
but
pirate.
I mean, before that, she wrote all the letters and everything asking.
I feel like those letters were written a long time ago. Like,
Okay.
I feel like she wrote those as a child because she wrote her most recent one was like, "I'm getting married. Please don't please don't please don't come here."
Right.
That's right, because she was like 9 and stuff. God, it took so, I don't know about what other people thought reading it, but as listening to an audiobook, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. Like, it took forever to get through those bloody letters.
That was about the only thing I enjoyed.
Yeah, I was just saying that would have been more painful as an audiobook.
I mean, it may have, did they look pretty in the book? Like when you read the book?
Yeah, handwritten letters.
Yeah, okay. See, that's what I thought.
They're not like the greatest.
Yeah, see, that's displayed really beautifully. Do you know what pissed me off is because every time she read a letter, she did the whole, the stuff at the top as well, the narrator. So, you know, like, what does it say? Something or other Isles, blah, 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 whatever it's the top of that.
Oh, the address.
Yeah, she read it out.
When you're reading it yourself, you just don't even look at that. Whereas in the audiobook, you don't have a choice.
No.
It's like when I listened to the audiobook of Ready Player One and they'd have the scoreboard.
Yeah.
And it'd be like, oh, fuck, the scoreboard.
Same with
And they'd listen to those numbers and you'd be like, oh, fuck off. Whereas in the book, if you were actually reading it and looking at it, you'd flick your eyes over it, see who was at the top, and you wouldn't really
and that's actually what you should do. You should take a creative liberty to say, at this point, you know, looking over the scoreboard, you could quickly see that this, you know, you would actually
reword it.
Either work with the author or you would take a creative liberty to present it in a good way. Because
but that's what they do with like the Illuminae books and things, because it's such a visual book that they're doing audiobooks for. They came up with a different way of creating the audiobooks. Now I haven't done them, but I've heard very good things about them.
That's great.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
I
awesome.
could not imagine those books as audiobooks.
Yeah.
That sounds
But
really
apparently
interesting.
the audiobooks are a whole other experience and are worthwhile doing. I haven't done it personally.
Someone's bird's going nuts.
Sorry.
Sorry. The bird obviously agrees with everything we're saying.
Although the one thing I did actually enjoy is the book has like a really good map of like the world. So
Yes,
Oh,
that
that's
was nice.
cool. That's
which is
cool.
nice to like sort of get an idea.
I love a
Although
good
it
map.
feels like it's a weird scale.
It is a weird scale, yeah. It's not
This
quite
is the
high.
tavern where she
Right.
was staying.
Yep.
This is the dress shop and the carousel. Like they're on opposite sides of Caraval, but they felt like they were very close.
It felt to me, I don't know about other people, but and maybe because I didn't see the map, but it felt to me like she never explored the world very much. Crap. And like she stayed in like a small quarter of it, and
Well, I feel like it just wasn't very big. Like I was saying,
that was the
like,
other
it
thing.
felt-
I don't think it was actually as big as you think. Like it's a bit like Disneyland, right? You think it's big, and then you go, "Oh, I can cover it really fast."
I kind of imagined it a bit like a theme park.
Yes, that's where my crap. What have I done?
The theme park with like magic and no rides.
Yeah.
And
Well,
murder
yeah,
that
but like
doesn't
theme
murder.
park, you know, like when you go to the crappy part of the theme park, it's all like all these buildings that have got just shops and shit in them, and
Yeah.
that's kind of what it reminded me of. Like Main Street in at Dreamworld, they've just got that whole street. It's all just like every shop selling the same thing and a fountain in the middle, and kind of made me think of that.
And everything's overpriced.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to read you this quote from the second review that I freaking loved. So this is Emily May. She wrote this in early February. She rated it 2 stars. And this is the bit that I just loved. For one thing, this is a writing style that never appeals to me. So many metaphors and similes that I know are supposed to be evocative and exciting, but they're nonsensical. Phrases like this: it smelled like the middle of the night. He tasted like midnight and wind. I remember that one, actually. I cracked up laughing when that one came out. Helen's expression fell like a doll Scarlet had dropped. I understand that some readers like this kind of mysterious, weird writing, but it just pulls me right out of the story. I sat there thinking, how the hell does something taste like midnight? That's exactly what I thought. What does it even mean when Teller's expression fell like a doll that Scarlett had dropped? Does it mean that Teller is a doll being dropped, i.e. the unhappy doll? Or is it the author is equating the downwards turn of her expression with the fall down of downwards fall of the dog? Or neither? It just sounds good. Here are some more. Something about him made her feel, I'm not going to say this, pearliest shades of silky black. The world tasted like lies and ashes when Scarlett woke. Something acidic and moldy and burnt bubbled up through Scarlett's throat, the taste of death. Let's forget for a second that death now has a taste. Is this the author just listing random words that sound cool? Or to quote Kirsten, just going through the fucking thesaurus? Think about it. How can something taste acidic and moldy and burnt? I just don't believe that good writing is collecting as many as exciting descriptive words as possible and shoving them all together regardless of whether they make sense.
Yeah. Basically, what she's done is she's written a whole bunch of adjectives on balls, and then she's putting them in a bingo thing, and then she goes, and then pulls one out and goes, I'm putting.
You know those random name generators where you get like, you know, that's what it is. You know what it is? Does anyone else use one password for their password stuff, and you get to choose like random words for passwords that are hooked together with hyphens? It's like that.
But yeah,
I actually think that this kind of writing can, when it's done well, can be really good. Like I really like obscure kind of metaphors. Similarly, if they're done well. But I think a lot of writers will see them done well and think I can do that, and not really
hit the mark.
Yeah. I think it was also that the entire book was written as metaphors. Like, there was, or not even metaphors, but also like just similes. It was like this. It was like that. It was. It got really exhausting listening to it. You know,
one of my favorite examples of those odd kind of metaphors is in the Cake song, short skirt, long jacket. Do you know that song?
I love that song.
And they say her fingernails shine, the fingernails that shine like justice, and a voice that is dark like tinted glass. And I really love those two, because it's like I can understand where you're coming from, even though you're comparing fingernails to justice and you're comparing somebody's voice to dark glass. I can kind of see where you're coming from there. Like I can imagine if somebody's voice that's dark like tinted glass, I can kind of actually picture in my head what that would be like it's kind of a throaty sort of voice, and even though it's comparing two things that are completely got nothing to do with each other. But I think a lot of writers kind of try to do that, but don't get that you can't just put two random things together that don't. You know what I mean? Like, it can be done well, but it's often not done well.
To me, it sounds like, I mean, I didn't read it, obviously, but to me, it sounds like overuse. Like maybe she would have been fine if she just wasn't constantly doing it every paragraph.
Yeah. And it would have been interesting, but I mean, it got to the point that I was like listening for the next one. And by the time we got to the one that did make me go, like, he tasted like midnight and wind, that I think that my problem was, I remember it thinking that could be really strong. But I've just heard this, because by the time she got to that was when she finally kissed the guy, right? Like when we were like further along. So I was like going, this would have been very strong if not for the whole freaking fact that I've just heard this the entire way along of what he is like. And it just, I think that's why it stuck in my brain, is I actually don't mind that as a description. But, you know, and also, also she used the word like all the time. He tasted like. It's just like
everything was
his
like.
kiss was, I mean, she could have written this, his kiss was midnight and wind. It's just as evocative without the... Yeah. And it would have been just as evocative.
It's like she was a, 16-year-old girl from, like, California. It's like, whatever.
So
like,
clueless.
So true. It's so true. That's exactly, Oh, he's so cute.
But he's, like, totally cool. But like, he's
yeah,
totally
yeah.
not into me. But like, you know. Oh gosh.
I did wonder if that was part of my problem, that I wasn't 16 reading it.
Did you guys read? Oh, sorry. I was going to say, did you guys? I never read Twilight, but I watched.
I read
Yeah, I know, I know, but I watched the movies, and I think, you know what? Someone said something at the beginning of this broadcast, and I went, "Oh, it's so freaking true. This is so like Twilight." The thing is, I enjoyed the movies. The bit that I didn't like was Bella Swan. I think there was have a story without her. It would have been really good. Like, it almost like you had all these other captive, and that's kind of what I feel like in this, is like there were all these other interesting characters, yet you centered around the most boring character that you know, imaginable, right?
Twilight would have been really interesting if it was like good vampires and werewolves against evil vampires.
And there's
I
enough
just wrote a new story for
interesting
you.
Yeah,
You're
and there's
welcome.
enough interesting vampires with their backstories, and there's enough what was going on in the werewolf, you know, in the werewolf from their own hierarchy. I was like, this is interesting. Why do we have to learn about it through this, like through this boring teenage girl, you know?
Because she's written as every woman, so that every 16-year-old girl can read that and go, I could be Bella Swan.
Yeah.
I could meet a vampire boy at high school and he could fall in love with my generic ass.
Yeah.
So I could fall in love with a vampire and he could watch me while I sleep. It's totally not creepy.
No. Someone who's technically 200 years older than me, and thus actually a lot older than me in many other ways. So this is not,
Just
you know,
watching me through the window while I sleep.
Yeah, but not even that. I'm like, my problem with the age differences, he might have been 17 when he was turned. He's not 17 anymore. You know,
it was okay when it was Angel and Buffy.
I had issues with it then too.
I have issues with that.
Shh, no, it's fine.
To be fair, Buffy was not a helpless little.
Yeah,
she was quite strong, and she got
physically either. Like she gave her, like, she wasn't just strong physically. She also sort of put up with this shit either.
And I'd also point out that because of Buffy's heritage, what happened, you know, because of her calling, she also wasn't a 17-year-old in the long run. She was a lot older than she was.
She was a lot more matured than.
Yeah, because of what she had to do and what she had to go through. So even when she was 22, she was probably more like someone who was, you know. So I'd also say that, maybe at the beginning, but in the long run, like, she was much more an intellectual match for the men that she came to life.
23 years old, Buffy gave Angel that whole cookie dough speech. Whereas me at 22, 23 years old, I would have been like, no, let's leave this apocalypse to its own devices and run away together.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'd be like, I'm going overseas, bitches. See ya.
The apocalypse would be like, you can run, but you can't hide.
I'll find you. Go find Faith first.
Can we talk about okay, I don't even know where we start, but the whole thing that not Teller, that's the freaking magician.
That's the sister.
It is the sister.
And it's the sister.
She's Donatella, but they called her Teller.
I hate that name.
I really hate it too.
Much. It made me so angry.
I keep thinking of Teller balls, which are Nutella balls, which is like a chain here in Sydney where you go and order donuts and you get Nutella put on them. They call themselves Teller balls. That's all I could think of.
Never heard of that before.
Every time I heard Donatella, I thought of Donatello from the Ninja Turtles.
Yes, I did too. I'm so glad it wasn't.
But I also forgot that was her full name. So I go, who the frick is Donatella? Oh, you mean Teller. Gotcha.
Yeah, and then, like,
I also
Scarlet being Crimson. Like,
that annoyed me on a whole different level, just because, like, my name is not Crimson. Don't put, like, because I have the whole thing of being called Katrina all the time. Every time you called her the wrong name, I was like, no, you smack that boy in the face, you walk away from him. He's a dick.
Yeah.
Can't even get your name right.
Yeah.
Yes,
and
I
then,
think that was on purpose, not by accident.
Still made me
it was
angry.
on purpose. He knew very well what her name was. And then it became kind of endearing, which I thought was quite sweet. I did actually like that because then he called her Scarlet and she was like, something's wrong because he's not calling me my pet name. So I didn't have too many issues with that. But yeah, like she did tell him off at the beginning of saying that's not my name, and then she just gave up, which is her.
Because she's soft white bread.
Yeah. What was the thing you guys were saying? Oh yeah, and then she kept Teller. I kept thinking of Penn and Teller. So that's a whole different view. Anyway, what do we think about Teller and her grand scheme? And apparently that her clueless older sister thought she wasn't like, I'm like.
I don't know if she knew that she was going to not get to play the game, because it felt like she would want to play the game, and then she got there and she got kidnapped and locked up in a tower, but she was totally treated really lovely, and like it was the greatest thing ever. Like, look at all my dresses.
Yeah, but that wasn't actually what was going on. That was what she portrayed to her before she died for her, and then she said, actually, I've been like, that wasn't what was written. So this is the problem. It was all these like twist after twist after twist. So being up in that tower wasn't actually where she was.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Like, she was.
But yeah, it was very annoying.
I gotta say, I'm really glad that it wasn't all real, because it sort of annoyed me that the one character her sister who's actually mildly interesting.
Yeah.
For her to then be stupid enough to fall for Daniel Legend backwards, I was like, are you serious? Please don't make her this daft.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I actually quite liked the sister's character. I probably liked her character more than most of them, because I thought I was like, why didn't you fucking listen to your sister? She's like saying, you don't have to marry some weird guy like you don't know, because like I get your point of, that was your way out of getting away from our father. We're already away from our father. We can run away. Like, why are you still hung up on marrying this random guy that you don't even know?
Yeah, but
it seemed to be making a lot more sense than Scarlett did in a lot of it.
It's a world where women basically have nothing. Like, if you are not married, you have to basically
but I didn't
prostitute
think that was
yourself.
very well spelled out. Like, they kind of tried to make it seem like it was sort of similar to that time, in our history. But I don't think
which time? That's the bit. I felt there was a confusion in time, because in the world in the islands, it felt like it was just coming out of medieval time, like not maybe a bit further on from that. I don't know what you'd call it, Renaissance. I don't know. But then the time that we were in Caraval felt very much more like between 1800 and like even the end of the 1800s, like Victorian times, because of the clocks and the different mechanics and the way, like, is it Ico? Is that? Yeah. Like the way some of the other women were, and that they had professions. It just felt like two different time periods, and maybe that's cohesive with the world. Because
I kind of got a Victorian vibe from the whole thing. But
like I understand what you mean about the islands being very like almost medieval-ish, but like she didn't really explain. Like, I felt like maybe she was trying to be like, the islands are where all the savages are, and they're all not as well developed as the rest of the world. But she didn't really explain her world very well.
She didn't.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, it was badly
what I was trying
developed.
to say. Like, how do we know that she couldn't have made it on her own without a man? They didn't spell it out that women needed to have a husband. The sister obviously didn't seem to think that women needed a husband.
I think it was more that Scarlett felt like there was nothing she could do. Like, she would never get off the island unless she married someone.
And I got that at the beginning. But, like, once they got off the island and they were at Caraval, why didn't she just go, okay, well, fuck marrying that guy. We're away from our father. Let's, have a blast at this thing and then go somewhere. Like, run away with your sister.
And the
go
fact
and live somewhere else.
It was like, well, you actually had, like, look at all these women who have jobs. Like, you're meeting nothing but women who are working. There is opportunity. Like, learn from them. You don't have to work at Caraval, but it shows you that you could work elsewhere in this empire. Like, I completely agree. I thought the world building in this, like, her telling herself why she had to complete something. She just, I don't know whether it's the fact she got completely hung up on something, but see, that would have been interesting to kind of go, oh wow, things are different than they are elsewhere, you know. So I just I mean, this is, again, it's just plot holes, gaping plot holes of bad world building and bad character design.
What did we all think about all the deaths?
Pissed me off by
What
the
was
end
the
of it.
point?
Yeah. I felt, do you know what I did? I felt emotionally cheated about things.
I also just can't figure out if this book is trying to be. I don't know what age it's meant to be aimed at, because parts of it felt extremely soft and young, and then other parts felt extremely violent, like all of a sudden violent.
Yeah, all the abuse and stuff. I'm like, I wouldn't let anyone under the age of like 16 or 17 read this, but then there are other portions of it where I'm like, a 16 or 17-year-old would think this book is a pile of shit. So, like, where are you trying to aim your book?
Yeah.
Because you can't you can't have that kind of like violence and abuse in a book that you're aiming for like a 13 or 14-year-old.
Alexa spelled out, I think, did we read, was it the Poison Taster? I don't know what the poison.
You mean Poison Study?
Yeah, because there was violence and some, you know, but and it was a YA book. But the world was so badly, it was so well created, and what it was is the morals were very well set out, so you knew that it wasn't right.
Yeah,
this was weird. Like, it was just odd. And like we kind of, because it was consistent, right? That was the thing about that book. There was consistency in that, and you can't, I don't know. Like the bit where the father punched her in the stomach, I remember like gasping out loud when that happened. I was like, holy shit, where the hell did that come from? You know? And the bit at the like, and I remember, holy crap, this guy, like at the beginning where he smacked his daughter, like, and that was it. That was the first kind of sign to me that I was going to get annoyed at this book, because she had done this whole ploy of making Teller look like she was selfish by saying that it was the other sister. Do you remember that bit? Because you got
was going to hit the other one,
but you didn't know that. You thought, oh, she's such a bitch, blaming the other girl, blaming the other sister, and it turned out that was the point, because the other one got smacked, and she was looking for that herself. And I remember thinking, that's just low. And what if, like, I remember thinking, what a low blow as far as story crafting. I don't know what other people thought about that.
I was more thinking like that it made the abuse so much worse, because it was psychological abuse as well as physical. Totally,
but I totally agree. But the way she'd set it up, because we didn't know that. It was just such a ploy to make us feel one way and then another. And maybe that was part of the world. It was like nothing is real, you know. But I was just got pissed off with it by the end of it.
Well, I don't know. I don't know Teller that well, but I felt like in the beginning she spent a lot of time trying to make Teller look like a frivolous and not very nice sister, and then sort of just reefed it out from underneath you, and suddenly I was like, actually, she sounds pretty awesome as a younger sister.
She sounds like the smart one.
Yeah.
But that's also because we were trapped inside the head of the most boring, you know, tight, notched up, nun-like character.
And that was the problem, like, because we didn't get to know, like, Teller the whole way through.
Yeah.
It was just a very sudden, like, she's a frivolous young girl who, like, wants to make out with boys and get dresses, and oh my god, and then she's suddenly like
the mastermind behind
everything. Like,
yeah, I think it would have been better actually to get, even though it wouldn't have been such a big twist, but let's be honest, it wasn't really that big a twist when they tell you it from the beginning that nothing's going to be real.
Yeah.
But I kind of think maybe there'd be more conflict if she was trying to pull across her plan and you were getting her side and the other sister's side, and you'd get those moments. Like, I always like those books where you've got, you know what this character's doing, and they've got this whole plan that they're going to do. But you also know what this character's doing, and you know why that plan's going to fail, and you're like, oh God, this person's trying to do this, but I know because of something, another character's perspective, I know that, you know, something bad's about to happen that's going to fuck up their plan, and then what they, like, whereas not getting to hear from her at all, you don't know, like, you don't have that kind of urgency, that conflict going on.
Apparently book 2 is, I don't know if it's from Teller's perspective, but you know, at the end where she's like dancing and then the guy comes up and says, you know, or you've got to pay up kind of thing, and then disappears. I think that's what it explores, but I just don't care enough. I'm like,
part of me is like, it might be interesting, and the other part of me is like, do you really want to waste your time on that piece of shit?
yeah, that's kind of right.
I kind of think it can be a bit lazy where they're like, oh, I've run out of ideas for that character, I'm just going to do the same thing again from a different character's point of view.
Yeah.
What the hell have I done with my crochet book? I was talking with my hands and it's disappeared.
We can't help. I'm sorry, we can't help you.
No, I wasn't really asking for actual help. I'm just voicing my frustration.
You were.
It's probably tangled up in this.
Because you don't really want to.
Hey, Kim, did you finish the book?
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear from you. We've had a big bitch. What did you think?
It's okay.
Yeah.
It was entertaining in a bit of a way, but wouldn't read it again. Julian was starting to get on my nerves.
Only Julian? Really?
Only Julian?
So at one point, because I just ended up listening to the rest of it on audiobook, I'm like, Julian, just can we just move on from this part? And the romance was getting to me. Let's just keep going. There was a lot of stuff that. Did we touch on the fact that the emotions had colours, and then it?
And then nothing happened with it.
Make the book longer and more descriptive, or descriptive, just to pad things out.
Is that like when you do your essay and you go, oh, I need 2,000 words and I've only got 1,800, right? What do I have to
go back to the book and add more description?
I reflect on those stupid essays and I go, you know what? If I can say it succinctly, that's what you should be rewarding me for.
Yeah. Yep.
That's bullshit. But one of the many things that's wrong with the education system. Let's not get into that tonight.
I cannot believe this crocheting book has disappeared. It's not even possible. Oh, here it is. Never mind.
Crochet.
I found it.
Crochet. For some reason, I thought she said groceries, and I was like, okay.
Oh, that's how Claire says it. Maybe that's why she says it like that. Maybe that's
okay, right.
She's like, I'm doing my grocerying. And
well, that's why I was getting confused. You're saying it like your daughter.
But no, I just probably mumbled or something. It's all right, I found it. It was right at my feet. I don't know how I didn't see it.
Yeah. Where is he? There he is.
Yes, the smelling colours or seeing emotions in colours. And, oh my God.
Please stop.
It's like a periwinkle mist. Which gets my face.
Yeah, no, not just pressing against your face, Naomi, but pressing against your bows of the low-cut gown that you're wearing, that the hemline is just at your knee.
I get some plums when you both leave.
Stop that, mister.
Oh my God, the smell of plums. I must run.
You know what I reckon that was? I reckon that was a bit of a Hunger Games ripoff. I reckon she's gone that, because in the Hunger Games they did that whole big thing with President Snow smelling like roses.
Oh,
yeah. They've gone, you know, the author's gone, oh, I'm going to steal that, and I'm going to have this really distinctive smell for my bad, you know, my villain of the story.
That was one of the few points of tension for me, was when she came out and she smelt it just as her father came around the corner. So that was actually, to me, listening to the audiobook, well done. But other than that, you know, it was all a bit much. And and the amount of bitching she did over like sharing a bed and all that bullshit. I was like, oh
yeah,
God, just
grow up.
You guys,
that was what I thought.
Just sleep. Like, honestly, you know, if you're that tired, you don't give a goddamn. I mean, my argument would have been like, okay, well, I'll go in under the covers, you're on top. Like, that's how you sort it, right?
Yeah.
Or top and
one
tail.
of you underneath, one of you on top, top to tail it.
Top to tail it. I was like,
someone grab some pillows and sleep on the floor. I don't care.
I know the amount of discussion over this goddamn bed situation. Where I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
it's not my night. I can't be in here. Oh my goodness.
But even before that, it was just like, we can't be
entertaining Kim.
Get over it.
I could just see you, Kim, like sitting there snickering.
And then looking around because Tombo is in the other room doing something. I'm not sure what it is.
He's getting up to mischief. He knows you can't do anything about it right now.
Yeah.
No, one thing I did like about that whole bed thing was that when she went down and she ran into that Dante guy, and he realized that she actually had her own room, and his reaction was like mine. Like he was like, are you fucking kidding me? I gave up my room for you and you had one anyway. And I was like, yeah, exactly. That's I was like, yeah, he's reacting.
Which, to be fair, he already knew because he was working with Julian.
Yes, well, this is it. All those freaking, all those things where I go, but you were working with people, you know everything. And the whole Dante Julian thing, and Dante looked at her with scorn and and all this. I was like, what the fuck? Like, it just nothing. Like, I know they say nothing is real,
I feel like she's one of those girls. You know how those girls that are like, that person looked at me and they were giving me side eye, and they just happened to glance in her general direction.
I just remembered the point at which I realized that I truly hated her. When the clue was about following the boy with the black heart.
Yeah.
She was like, that's obviously Julian. And I'm like, you're an idiot.
I'm like, yep.
Go find Dante.
But the fact that 4 paragraphs of description about why it would be Julian, that's the bit that pissed me off. I'm like, and I don't know how many paragraphs it was, but I was listening to it, and god damn it, I was just like, I really have never wanted to fast forward through anything. I'm like,
and then she saw that Dante had like a heart tattoo, and she was like, ooh, maybe it's him. Nah.
And in my head, I was like, she's a moron.
I know.
See, that is the advantage of reading the actual book than the audio. Like, I've been really enjoying audiobooks lately, and I've probably finished way more audiobooks this year than anything else. But when it's not a great book, it's so much better when you can just go and skip.
Audiobook when it's not good.
Well, I read a 400-page book today.
Yeah, you just like this.
Yeah.
I'll just skim over all this description until I get to another dialogue bit, and then I'll be able to get a gist of what's happening.
I mean, admittedly, I was on holiday. I didn't have it was nice, especially with Luna, because I need to keep my eyes on her, especially when I was in the pool. It was nice to be able to enjoy a book, and I have to make audiobooks on holiday with toddlers. They're the way forward. So good. But I did remember lying in bed because Kevin and I, we're sad, and we'll just do our things, listen to podcasts, and I'll listen to the radio. And I do remember thinking, because I'm very, you guys know I listen to a lot of podcasts, so I remember exactly what I'm doing and where I am when I hear remember things and things, and I associate it with that. So I remember exactly where I was. I was lying on the bed and I was like, oh, for God's sake, stop. Just decide. Stop debating and just decide. What does your gut tell you? Because you fucking never listen to that.
She can't listen to her gut or her head or anything.
Or her sister
or Julian or Dante or her father.
Or Aiko or anyone else.
Anyone. She can't listen to anyone. Not even herself.
Or her
God damn it, we couldn't listen to her. She just went on and on and on.
Oh yeah, I like the fact that my audiobook playing app has a speed up function.
Yeah. Oh, I talked about that too.
Same thing.
What speed did you go to? I only went to 1.25. What did you go up to?
I did go up to, I tend to change between it. So 1.2 was my standard setting because I just feel that that's normal. But when I start to get bored, I go between 1.5 and 1.8. It depends on the book and the person who's reading it, but 1.5 to 1.8 when I just want to get through.
I should have done that. I honestly, it didn't even occur to me when I was like, I should have done that. I should have sped it up and gone.
But if you're like me and you listen to them on normal speed normally, and it's only when you're not really getting into it that you listen to it fast, 1.25 seems really fast when you do that.
Yeah, I don't usually listen to mine fast unless the read is really slow. Like one of the Expanse books that I listened to, there was a different narrator.
I found that with
why are you pausing in between every word? And I had to bump up the speed.
I was like, hey, I'm going to be fascinated.
I had to listen to her. I listened to the third Broken Earth book on audiobook, and I found that I had to listen to her on fast because I couldn't not listen to her on fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
it definitely depends on the narrator.
I listen to a lot of podcasts, so listening to an audio book on normal is incredibly slow to me compared to the type of podcast I listen to. That's why I had to have it sped up, because I was like, this is like drudgery. I needed it a bit faster. I needed a little snappier in the storytelling. So the other thing that on Audible that they do is they also, what it does is it shortens the pauses. Like, so it's not just doing the whole thing. It's actually also going, oh, I can see lengths of time coming up, which is good. So I wasn't sitting there going between paragraphs with big pauses. It actually also just like flowed everything. So I found that good. And to be honest, she didn't actually sound any different between 1 and 1.25, which was good. I know when I did try to take it up a notch, she then started to sound like she was clipping words. So I was like, okay, that's a little fast. Whereas this is just like, oh, good. You sound like Roman Mars and you sound like, Helen Zaltzman. I'm happy.
Matt just commented, sent me a message. Obviously, I'm talking loud enough for him to hear me in the other room.
I saw him pull the door closed a little bit earlier behind you.
Yeah, because I talk too loud. And and obviously you can hear every word I'm saying, because he just sent a message that said, because I was talking about the audiobooks sounding like they were pausing for too long in between every word, and he said they're using the Shatner comma.
The what? Sorry?
The Shatner comma.
The Shatner comma. They are. And then if you clean it up, it gets rid of it. There's an algorithm that just goes through it.
I do have a very good audiobook recommendation for you guys, by the way.
Yeah.
And it's called We Are Legion, We Are Bob.
I just downloaded that today.
Oh, it's so good. It's really good.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Going to Audible now. I just downloaded Turtles All the Way Down. It's going to be interesting to me to hear it. I'm getting it read by Kate Rudd, who apparently narrated the last one he did as well. But because I'm used to John Green, I'm going to be interested to hear what she does.
I reckon he should have done his own book for this one, because it's like, if you're reading it and you're like, man, you really pulled a lot from yourself for this character.
I know, but the character is female, quite clearly female, so I think he wants his last character, so I think he's gone, but he obviously likes this narrator because he's gone with her again for this one, so we'll see. I read the last book, so also, as you said, this is a heavy book, so we'll see how I go. I was listening to the latest podcast.
Do you want to cry a lot, and do you hate yourself?
I don't know, but there's something about, I think it will be good for me to, from someone who suffers from anxiety, I think it's important for me to understand other points of view on mental illness and how people cope and how they move through things and what their experiences are like. And also for me and what I do a lot of service design. I really push empathetic understanding when it comes to employees and HR and stuff, because, business is, shouldn't just be focused on numbers. It needs to understand what employee motivation is. So I'm also looking for some understanding there to help bring back into the things I do. I sound really good after, too many drinks. But yes, I don't know if anyone saw you guys probably didn't because you're Snapchatters now. I was listening. Do you guys listen to the Anthropocene review? Does anyone listen to it?
Yeah, but I haven't
there was one of them and I listened to it, and then I didn't see his thing because I'm not on Twitter or anything like that, and I'm in the gym and I'm just a mess. And I'm like, you fucking bastard! And I'm just bawling my eyes out because I listened to that before I listened to Dear Hank and John, where he warns you, and I was like, damn it. Anyway.
I haven't caught up on those podcasts for a while. So which one was it? What were the things he was reviewing in that one?
I can tell you. Hang on. It's very good. Don't get me wrong. It's very, very good.
I've only listened to the Dr. Pepper one and the one with the geese.
Googling Strangers in Kentucky Bluegrass.
Yeah, no, I haven't listened to that one yet.
It's really good. So there's only 3 out. I can't keep up with Hank and Catherine.
Yeah, but people find on them as well.
I only usually listen to podcasts when I'm in between credits on Audible.
Right.
So,
whereas I tend to do my podcast first and then go to the audiobook.
Yeah.
I keep up to date with Dear Hank and John, No Such Thing as a Fish, and Sawbones. Anthropocene Review and Delete This are kind of like my ones that I do when I'm
Yeah.
Oh, and downloadable content, although they're not releasing anything at the moment.
Yeah. I have Freakonomics and Radiolab, but I'm picky now about what I listen to there. Like I really have to pick and choose what's there. I always listen to 99% Invisible. I always listen to 20,000 Hertz. I always listen to Anthropocene Review because it is kind of like the designed world. You know, there's things, or it's about your empathetic understanding of history and things, which I really like. I also I pick and choose a little bit with Imaginary Worlds. Does anybody else listen to Imaginary Worlds?
I pick and choose.
I do too. But
it depends on whether they're talking about something that I have seen or read.
Yeah.
Care about, I listen to it religiously.
Yeah, but I love it. Like I've never listened to anything on Imaginary Worlds and not enjoyed it. It just depends on what else is in my feed at that time. Yeah. I also discovered a new one via 20,000 Hertz. They did a rebroadcast of one from the ABC. So 20,000 Hertz is an American podcast, but they're pretty amazing. And they rebroadcast one from the ABC, like our ABC, called Sum of All Parts. And I'm just like, this is a great podcast. It sounds really good. So I can recommend it. I was really, really interested. So yeah. Cool. Anyway, I know we've gotten away from
Can I tell you one good podcast before we get off this sidetrack?
Yeah.
The other one that I really enjoy is called Gastropod. Have you guys heard of that one?
Is it about food?
I have heard of that one. But I don't listen to it, but I have heard of it.
Food through the lens of science and history.
That's my kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I was like. They look at they did a whole episode on balsamic vinegar and how balsamic vinegar is made and stuff, and they've done ones on all different kinds of things. Like
I think I listened to one on radio. It was either Radiolab or Freakonomics because I always get the two confused. And I was so happy to be able to tell my mother, basically there is absolutely no nutritional value whatsoever in goddamn iceberg lettuce. Stop making salads with it.
Yes, stop with the iceberg.
Yeah, use it to encase delicious things.
Yeah,
don't make a whole salad with it.
I do have a little soft spot for iceberg, but only in particular things and only things that are mostly nostalgia. Like I can't imagine a corn cocktail with any other kind of lettuce. But
there's no value in the other things you've got, so you've got it for the crunch. It's not a goddamn salad on its own.
No.
Yeah.
And don't get me started on the ones where it's like a whole wedge of iceberg with some Caesar salad dressing on the top of it. And
what was the book, Mel, that you mentioned? Audiobook?
We Are Legend, We Are Bob.
We Are Legion, We Are
Legion.
Bob. Legion. Sorry, I was thinking Legend was I thought zombies? Really? You're into zombies?
I haven't even started it and I'm excited.
AI.
It looks good.
It's AI.
Yeah, it's AI, which I knew you were going to want it. I was just
comedy.
Yeah, I thought of you. I've been thinking of you when I've been listening to it.
Has Matt looked at this?
I've told him about it, but he tends to not listen when I tell him to read things.
Sarah, tell him to read it.
I will, because apparently he listens to me. Maybe I should choose it. I love my AI.
Maybe have a look and see what you think.
When are you on? What month are you?
I thought maybe August, but I'm not sure.
Let me just look.
It's the one that won the March Madness on Sword and Laser, so it got voted out of a whole bunch of things.
Oh, cool. I do.
Yeah, you're next, Sarah. Sorry, you're my next person to ask who to pick. You're for August. I've just asked G today to pick for July because I'm a bit behind the 8 ball right now.
Told you not to. Sorry, someone saw, I picked him up and put him on my lap. He saw my nail file. He started going for it and started purring like a crazy kitten. And he's just staring at.
Nail file.
It's not a scary AI thing, by the way. It's quite light-hearted. It's quite a
And it's not long.
Light read, and it's quite short. It's quite light. It's kind of
So the reason I downloaded it today was I listened to the latest Sword and Laser podcast with them talking about it, and I was like, hell yes, I need it. I was already planning to read it. I need this book. And I had a credit sitting there, so I was like, yep. That
was why I downloaded it, because I had a credit and I'm like,
that's so good.
Yeah, I saw it on the March Madness for Sword and Laser, and I was like, oh, well, I need to listen to something for my audio book, and I might as well listen to a Sword and Laser book, because then I get what's going on when I listen to the podcast.
Yes.
And I'm really glad I did, because I'm enjoying it.
I still haven't finished last month's book, though. I want to, but it's just a bit heavy.
I got put off by that because I saw some reviews that said it was quite violent, and I was like,
yeah, it is, but it's actually excellent. So it's sort of this sort of like, I really want to read you, but I have to do you in small doses.
Yeah. Okay. Is it just me, or is there something with the Audible on iPhone that I can't actually download this book?
I never do it through the app.
Okay.
For some reason, I always have to buy it on the.
It's saying to me, you can purchase titles from Audible or Amazon. I'm like, I am in freaking Audible.
You can't use the app that's to purchase. You have to go to the actual Safari and go to the website, or go on.
That is bad design. I mean, how?
No, it's not bad design. Sarah, it's not bad design. It's a dictate from Apple. Apple's being mean.
Yeah.
Through that. Okay, I know why they're doing it. Yeah,
you used to be able to, and then they changed it.
But
they put all the content on their own stores, and they want you to buy it from their stores instead of buying the Amazon stuff.
But
which is why I'm very glad that I don't have an iPhone. I'm not trying to rub it in. I'm just saying that at least I don't get that kind of shit.
I just thought that I was able to get things through the Kindle app. And it was fine.
You used to be able to. You can't anymore.
They can't anymore. It's because they bought what's the
before we get
Comixology? They did it with Comixology too, because they bought Comixology, right? Yeah.
Anyway, I might just close this up for the evening.
Yep.
I feel like we've bitched for long enough about this particular book.
By the way, I have one more bitch. I have one more bitch. It's about the end, and it's about how I really didn't like, because she had to watch people die and multiple people die.
Yeah,
I didn't like from a mental health point of view, I felt it didn't address that. She was supposed to be fine about it, and actually I thought it was all kinds of fucked up. And I really was annoyed. I was really annoyed with it, because I was pulled through it and thought, it's fine with one, but then every death was fake. And I was just like, there is something sinister, not sinister. It's just
messed up.
Yeah. I really hated that. That's one of the things that it left a really bad taste in my mouth about what people's experiences of losing loved ones in tragedy or suicide. That was the other thing, because she did effectively commit suicide, right? That's what Teller did, and that I felt was very, very messed up. As far as the way it was like, oh, it's fine, and she, I was like, well, that's not, especially if this is a young adult's book. So that's, I guess, I just wanted to talk about that a bit, because I was really not upset crying, but upset in an annoyed way. I was like, this is a real thing for young people, and if this is a young adult's book, this is a really I can't think of the right word, but irresponsible way of dealing with things like suicide and reactions to death and mourning and dealing with those things. So I want to know what others thought about it. It sounds like, Kirsten, you had kind of a similar reaction to
it. Yeah, it was kind of like, I put you through all this trauma, but it's all good. Yeah.
And I was like, no, it's not fucking all good,
It's fine. I'm totally not a wreck. It's fine.
That's one of the things I did like. I never actually read Hunger Games, but in the movie they had it, so I assumed it was in the books, where she basically had PTSD at the end.
Oh, definitely.
Yes. And that's what I enjoyed. Not enjoyed, but I appreciated the fact she was like, and actually she wasn't the only character in there who had PTSD.
And Peter as well. He just recover after the rescue.
And the girl with the showers, the girl who wouldn't take showers because of how she'd been tortured. Yeah, I thought that dealt with that whole the repercussions of going through trauma I felt was dealt with really well. And in fact, there was a really good thing on Imaginary Worlds, check it out, which talks about trauma in Harry Potter. Have a listen, because I thought it really reflected really beautifully on that. And of course, J.K. Rowling, because of the work she did with people who had been through trauma, through refugees and whatnot, she had a much more of an appreciation for that. And this, it just, yeah, there was something disrespectful about it.
Agreed.
Yeah, it felt very, if you have any feelings about the person you love, whether it be your sister or the boy you've only known for 5 days that you totally believe you're totes in love with, watch them die. You're not supposed to have a reaction after being like, no.
Yeah, see my reaction the whole time when she's like finding out these things. I'm like, why would you want to go to a party after they've put you all through this? I'd be like, no, I'm getting on that boat and going.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm like, you are all
hell out of here.
I have been through enough. I don't want to go. There'll be more surprises. I don't trust any of you. I was exactly the same, Kim. I was like, why would you go? I don't trust them. They haven't done anything to make you trust them so far, you know.
Yep.
I still get thrilling with the idea that people want to go to this thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's because it's like, it's basically sort of dressed up like a fairy tale. Like, it's, you know, women in beautiful ball gowns.
If you win, you get a wish. But yeah, I much preferred, you know, the awe and the magic of the night circus, whereas this was like go through a nightmare to get a wish that you know only one person's going to get, and then so everybody's being horrible to each other.
And it was gamed anyway from the start, because the wish, you know, like it was a complete. Yes, it's a game, but they've gamed it. And as someone who has had to work within the laws and parameters of different states around gaming and competitions, I was annoyed. Like, is this a game of chance or is it not? Like, you know.
No, it's like this is the least gamey game that ever did games. So help me game.
Exactly. So I just wanted to touch on the ending before we do wrap it up, because I was left feeling many feelings, and one of them was I felt it was so disrespectful and just misunderstood, perhaps from a complete aura of naivety around this. I think that possibly is there, but I'm surprised no editor, unless she was self-edited, I have no idea, didn't call this out to say, you know, suicide among young people is a really big issue.
I really feel like whoever came across this book in their slush pile was just like, oh yes, I've got the next night circus, this is fantastic.
Well, they obviously marketed it that way, and we all fell for it, so it obviously worked. Like, they probably sold a whole lot of books on just that marketing strategy.
Although, to be fair, I didn't buy it. I got it from the library.
I got it from the library, but I had it on my wish list, so I got it quite plausible that someone could have bought it for me.
I'm really glad that I did not get it as a Secret Santa.
I'm relieved about that too, because I was like, I'm kind of glad that this didn't end up getting given to me as Secret Santa. It does look pretty though. Like, it still would have looked pretty on the shelf. But
that's the problem when a book's pretty. It's like,
I mean, that was kind of why I picked it. I was like, but it's so pretty.
And I just, you know, like. It's interesting with the night circus thing, because it was definitely influenced, because they kept talking about the logo of Caraval, which, by the way, is one of the worst, like, an awful logo. I had to actually look it up because I couldn't understand what they were describing.
And I kept looking for it in the book. I'm like, oh, it must be on the cover of the book. And then I'm like, why would you describe the logo and then not put it on the cover?
Yeah. I thought compared to the night circus, where they would talk about the reds, like they would wear red scarves.
Yeah,
I loved that. That was one of my favorite bits, was there were people who loved the circus. Like, I honestly loved that, because it was like fandom.
But it wasn't just fandom, it was also a way to draw you in as a fan of the book, as a way to show your fandom of the book. Like, it was just so clever.
It was so good. And you were like, because that's me. I don't need to know everything. thing. I just admire this and I love it, and I want to show the people who do this that I appreciate them, and I'm a fan, and I'll wear the red. Like, I just love that part. Whereas with this, I could feel the influences in it, but then I was like, this is the most complicated logo in the world. Like, and it's when I saw it drawn up, I was like, this is a really awful logo.
Like, yeah,
I'm gonna have to Google it now.
You were complaining that you couldn't work it out from the audiobook. It's not in the book.
It's on the hardcover.
Yeah, I was gonna say I
wasn't on the copy that I had.
I see it.
I was like, oh, it must be on the cover or something, and I looked and I couldn't find it.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, I found it, but it's a terrible logo, honestly. Like, from people who have drawn it up.
Can you show it, Sarah?
Yeah, I'm just getting a if I can get it.
Maybe because it was terrible, that's why they didn't put it on a soft cover.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Oops. Open image, a new tab. They removed that option in Google Images. Why? Okay. I'm just checking it because it's open. I'm just checking it in the Facebook chat because it's here. Sorry, everybody. Although we're still broadcasting, aren't we?
Oh my god, that looks like a
that's terrible.
Did it?
It's a terrible logo, right?
I thought it was much better than that. I must have seen some. I must be.
Yeah, that's a red bubble one, so that must be fan art.
Okay.
Oh, thank God.
I did find another one, but I thought it was also equally bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's still low. I was just, oh, this is bad.
I'm sure I saw something, unless I was thinking of a symbol from something else.
What do they call? They don't call it a logo, though, right? They call it the symbol of.
Yeah.
The symbol of Caraval.
Caraval. Yeah, that's the only one I can seem to find. There's this red bubble one.
See a rose inside a teardrop. I can't even remember the description, to be honest. I just remember being like, well, this must be on the cover, and then trying to find it and being like,
I mean, this isn't bad, but it's oh God, stop. Sorry, I'm just
Anyway.
Okay.
I might wrap it up for tonight.
Yeah, I think we've bitched enough.
Yes. If you lasted this long, congratulations. You should really come along and join us so that we can do this for real. I hope you all enjoyed it, or at least enjoyed us bitch about it. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.